Hey guys, Addicted to the Finest Pizza here, and today I have kind of an interesting video that took me quite a while to make. It is the art style challenge video. So throughout the years, I've had many inspiration. So I figured, why not do this video? I did it a really long time ago traditionally, but now that I have digital media, I can more so replicate the styles of artists that I've grown to love over the years. Also, I just think my art has increased in value is the wrong word, increased in quality since I first started posting my art online. But trust me, the journey to get where I am now was not easy. It was actually really tough. A couple times I almost gave up because I just felt like art wasn't for me, but now I'm finally happy with where I am in my art style. So yeah, this first one obviously is my style, and I used my character Benel to base all these illustrations off of. So you'll see the same blue, pink, orange, green color palette throughout all these drawings, and I actually really enjoy how it came out. She looked so magical in all these other styles and fits so well into all these other worlds. So I didn't exactly draw the exact same portrait, but I kind of stylized it to the artist that I was replicating off of, as you'll see more as we get into the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. The next artist is my friend, ReeCJ Draws. Her art style is really cute. It reminds me of like Sailor Moon, but has her own personal twist on it, and it fits so many different characters so well. I love how her artwork has kind of this like really soft and airy feel, and maybe I'm biased, but this was one of my favorite styles to do, so I'm excited to show her when I finally get this video out and rendered. She's actually a really good artist friend of mine. She's pretty much known me since I started really posting my art on Instagram, and it's so fun to have seen both of us grow alongside each other and watch our styles develop. Sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied. I specifically like how she approaches color. Like I said, most of her artworks have a light and airy feel, and it kind of makes me feel like I'm looking at a retro anime, I guess. If she had her own show or was making like animated like YouTube series or something like that, or even a webcomic, I would definitely watch it because this style is just something that I could see and be entertained by for so long. Probably one of the more challenging things for me in this style was, I would say, color, but also just getting the textured feel that her art has. Like this kind of like soft airbrushy feel over the entire thing. I don't quite think I achieved that, but it's definitely something that I want to figure out how it works. So all in all, I really like how this came out, and I could definitely see Benel my character living in her universe. Like, it's so fun to just see this come to life finally. The next is Vitoli, or Vitaloy. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I have seen this artist around a lot. This is actually a really popular artist. A lot of people have probably seen their work without even knowing their name because, unfortunately, their art is stolen a lot. But I wanted to try my hand at this style because too many times do I just like pass up on doing more simpler styles because my brain has been trained to automatically go for complicated and, you know, doing all these like layer modes and blending and all these fine lines and stuff like that. And doing this art style was just really relaxing. This probably was one of the ones that took me the least amount of time, but also I kind of like it. It reminds me of Bratz. Like, when I was a kid, I was a huge Bratz person. It took me till like 6th grade to really stop playing with dolls, and that's only because my dad one day came into the area that we had all our toys with a trash bag and was like, you need to throw these away. But I'm sure if he didn't, I would still very much have some on hand just for inspiration for art because, like, they were so fashionable, and that's really what this art style reminds me of. It just reminds me of being a kid, and it's just so cute and fun and light that I couldn't pass it up. So, yeah. This next artist is another long-time inspiration of mine since I got on Instagram and started posting my art. I cannot, for the life of me, figure out how their Instagram name is pronounced, but they used to go by the name Re-Artwork. She has actually been somebody who I watched to go through a huge art style change. I was thinking about doing art in her old style, but something about the new style that she's developed like really speaks to me. And I felt like it was different enough from what I do now to challenge me to kind of like think outside the box. I had a little bit of trouble with the style, mainly with the shadows. She has like this really good way of just like doing cell shading really well, like just these thick black lines over her artwork, or just like thick areas of shading where like it just works and it adds depth to this like 2D, this very 2D style, and it's really admirable to see. Another thing that I admire about her style is that it's kind of got this like drawn on paper feel even when she does digital work. Like, her digital work and her marker work look exactly the same, and I am jealous of that. I one day hope to blend my two styles so seamlessly. But yeah, and funny enough, when I followed her on YouTube originally, she was not a digital artist. She only did marker stuff, and I used to just spend hours watching her like sketchbook videos because it was so inspiring to me. So much so that I even bought her sketchbook from Gumroad. So it's fun that it's come full circle, and now I'm literally making a video drawing in her art style, which is something I never thought I would do, but here I am. The next is Radio Maru, or Brian Lee O'Malley, or the Scott Pilgrim art style. So the Scott Pilgrim comic books and games have actually been a huge inspiration for me. And another comic that he worked on as well, along with Leslie Young, I believe is how you pronounce it, is Snot Girl. I love Snot Girl, and I love Scott Pilgrim, so anything that Brian Lee O'Malley makes, like, I'm all for it. His art style is so, like, cute but also versatile, and I love his line and color language. It speaks to me. It makes me think of, like, retro video games, hence why I gave her, like, the little power shirt. This one gave me a lot of trouble because my brain kept trying to oversimplify the shapes of the style, which there really isn't a lot of complex work that goes into it. I believe that the Scott Pilgrim style needs to be replicated over and over again because you're drawing comic books. So not everything is going to have super detailed shading, super detailed lines, and a lot of it is more simplified to make it easier to keep characters close to their design. And once I let go of that notion of having everything be super detailed and, like, to a T, I started to have more fun with this. I still don't quite think I got some of the proportions right, but it is interesting to see Benel in the Scott Pilgrim world, and I am a little bit inspired to make more stuff in this style. It's just so freaking cute. Next is another friend of mine, Cyberlove. So, funny enough, before we became friends, I was a huge fan of her. Oh, sorry, there's thunder outside. I hope that doesn't disturb you. But before I became friends with her, I was actually very inspired by her. I believe the first time I ever saw her work was actually one of my other friends, Monica Universe, had drawn a portrait of her, and I was like, I have to know who this person is. And so I went to their page, and it turns out that they did art as well, and I was like, this is so freaking beautiful. Now, she usually does a very painterly style of artwork, but she also has a little doodle style, which is what I decided to replicate in this challenge today, just because I felt like it would be better for Benel and save me more on time, because towards this part of the process, I was quite tired and it was quite late into the day, because I did all of these in one go, and it took me like 7 plus hours actually. So, you know, but it was all worth it, and this is probably one of my favorite styles to see Benel in, so much so that I feel like I've just subconsciously picked up something from replicating this style. It's so cute and lovable, and I don't know, it's just it such good vibes from it, such good vibes. And Kira, or Cyberlove, is also another person who just gives me really good vibes and just very inspiring. Like, I still remember the first time we met at an art show. Like, it was so surreal and it was so magical how, like, instantly we were just so casual with each other. But I talked too much, and now we're on to Roboto. This is also another one of my inspirations, a huge inspiration actually. So much so that I've like tried to learn coloring from this person, and funny enough, I learned more in this challenge from him than I did from like watching speed paints and stuff like that. Like, I really sat down and took the time to look at how he does his color, look at how he does his lines, and subconsciously like taking in that information while doing this piece like kind of helped me out understand more what I want from my own art style. So I highly suggest this challenge to anybody who's like kind of like, should I do it, should I not do it? Even if you don't do it for a video or to post on the internet, still do it. Like, just draw one character or one person in a bunch of art styles that you find inspiring to you, and subconsciously you'll start picking up these techniques on, since you're trying to see how like the process is done. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm getting kind of like mush mouth, but it was just so fun to be light and airy and a lot less a lot more carefree than I am with my own work sometimes, and it's just so fun. I will say one of the major problems that I had was like getting my work to look like his. He has like this dreamy look to his art, and for the most part of doing this piece, I could not figure out what it was, and then it suddenly clicked in my head. I believe his lines are a little blown out to get the retro anime feel. So what I did was I copied my line work layer and actually put a Gaussian blur underneath it, and then that gave it the little like blown out like lines look that's like not quite so perfect, and it just looked amazing once I did it finally. So that was a big help. But other than that, I just love how this one turned out, and I'm very happy, and I will continue to better myself like with every art piece I do. And I don't know, this challenge just really inspired me to be an artist, kind of reinvigorated my want to do this. Next is Trungles. So he has inspired my line work a lot. He has such neat lines and such detailed lines. Like, I was so blown away when I would see him draw hair, because he draws every single strand, and it works so well, and there's so much like weight to the hair. Because with me, admittedly, I do add a lot of fluff. Maybe it's just because subconsciously all those Studio Ghibli movies of characters being happy and having such big hair got in my head. But having to draw Vanilla in such a, like, I'd say regal art style was really nice and really refreshing by this time of the process. Because I started off doing the very cartoony styles, and then sort of, as the challenge went on, did more detailed things towards the end so that my brain was still stimulated and not just like mindlessly zombieing through the entire project. Trungles has amazing anatomy, and if you are over 18, I suggest you check out their NSFW page. I'm not going to shout it out here because that is not cool, but if you know, you know. But they're like, there's some really good, just like a really good anatomy practice for just seeing how people interpret parts of the body and whatnot. Because sometimes, at least for me, just getting real life references isn't enough. But yeah, the coloring on this is pretty simple, nothing too crazy, but I still love it. And last but not least, the scariest one for me of all. Now, admittedly, I was so worried about it not being right that I forgot to record my line work and the beginning of the coloring, but you didn't miss much. Just me literally going in and detailing the hair, and then me trying to plan out colors for the hair, because he has this, like, I don't know, like the hair that he draws just flows like water and the colors look so pretty together. So I try to emulate that by using purples and blues. I wish I would have used a pink, but I think the colors that I used were nice enough. He has like a very, I'd say, like, some of his work, like, okay, so the way his work works in my mind, at least, I don't know if this is actually his process, but it's like the skin is usually really, really, really saturated, and then everything around that is kind of a pastel-y color, and then on top of that there's like this white film of noise over it, and it looks so dreamy. So when I saw his artwork before breaking it down in my head, I saw it and was like, this is insane. I will not be able to do this. And I almost picked a different artist because I was so scared of it. But once I got out of my head and I just kind of broke it down and then was like, hey, this is like what I need to do to achieve this, and like these are the colors that they use, obviously it got a lot easier, and this is actually one of my favorite artworks that I did in this challenge. I just wish I didn't goof and I actually recorded the line work. And that's the challenge. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know which one you liked best. And just remember, like, have fun with your art and don't worry about your style. It'll come to you. And most likely, if you just stick with the things that you love, eventually it'll all be an amalgamation of everything. But that's pretty much it for me. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, and have a really good time.